All right, when it comes to the recent COVID developments in Texas, there's two different discussions here, really. One on the decision to reopen businesses and the other on lifting the mask mandate. So thankfully, we have the two perfect guests for a little Texas two-step this morning. The Chief of Staff at United Memorial Medical Center in Houston, Dr. Joseph Barone, who is working his 350th straight day today, plus business and market analyst and Dallas resident, friend of the show, of course, Seth Denson. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Thanks for the invite.
Dr. Barone, I want to start with you. Texas Governor Abbott is now allowing city officials in the Lone Star State to make decisions how they see fit, he said. This also allowing Texans to make decisions for themselves, for their family. Do you think that's doling out too much responsibility?
Well, it is, especially if you have people that are truly not fully aware of what the potential consequences of making a decision are. I mean, if you are telling me that you are allowing a supermarket to decide who goes in or who doesn't go in with a mask, I mean, makes sense. You know, it's a crowded place. But if you are talking about independent individuals that are going to go out and they say, hey, I'm not going to wear a mask because it's okay not to wear a mask, then that's a problem.
And that's something I'm wondering, Seth, you're there in Texas as well. And I have to wonder, do you think private businesses there are going to put up signs on the door saying, if you want to enter, you've got to have a mask on, and then private citizens are going to be, you know, combating with that, saying, well, the governor said I don't have to. How do you think that's going to play out in Texas?
Well, it's not that the governor said that they didn't have to. The governor said that the state of Texas is not going to impose restrictions directly. But the governor went on to say that private enterprise is certainly allowed to do so. Listen, no shirt, no shoes, no service has never been a state mandated thing either, but we pretty much abide by it here, and most businesses require it. To your question, though, Rachel, yeah, I think that private businesses still will put up signs. Many will. They've had these signs up. And also, depending on where businesses are headquartered, but I do think that there will be a mix, and my hope is that Texans, by and large, will respect the wishes of those business enterprises, and if they don't want to abide by them, just go somewhere else.
I hope so as well. That Southern hospitality, of course, so strong there in Texas. Dr. Barone, is there a concern, you think, with how close this decision was made to spring break? People usually head to warmer climates, maybe the Gulf, a target destination this year. Do you think we're going to see an uptick in cases after March when we're expecting to have everyone vaccinated by the end of May?
Well, I can tell you we are expecting a surge in cases, at least after the 10th, which is when this mandate goes away. We will see a surge here in Houston. We have no question about it. And the reason for that is that, you know, a lot, especially the young people, you know, they are going to hear this. There is no mandate to wear masks, but a lot of them are going to say, okay, time for spring break. Let's go and party. Let's go and do the things that some of them have already been doing, and we've been having a lot of issues with that. So that is my concern. My concern is a lot of youngsters are going to be out there not wearing masks, and we're going to get in trouble.
And this goes into effect March 10th. Then, of course, spring break follows that. And as you mentioned, a lot of people already doing that, but now maybe they feel that they've really been given that green light. Let's talk about the younger generation, though, Seth. Have you heard anything there in Texas how this is going to affect schools? Are people going to go back to school now? Are they going to keep masks in effect? Or is that going to vary based on the district?
Well, I think it will vary somewhat based on the district, but for the entire school year this year so far, by and large throughout Texas, schools have been open for in-person learning. Most school districts are offering mixed learning capabilities online or in person and leaving it up to the parent to ultimately make the decision. I think that will continue. It appears that the governor, in support of Education Commissioner Mike Morath, are going to allow this to remain a district-based issue as to whether districts are going to require masking. But by and large, again, across the state, schools are open and will remain open.
Dr. Barone, of course you can't get inside the governor's brain, but do you think perhaps that Abbott made this decision as a standalone or in correlation, knowing that President Biden was going to announce that there will be enough vaccines for all Americans at the end of May? Do you think there was any connection to those two statements made on the same day?
I can, like you say, I cannot get into his head, and I really don't know. I don't know the science that he used to make his decision. Mm-hmm. I do know that the state of Texas doesn't have that much of vaccinations going on. I mean, we have only 7% of the state has been vaccinated. And like you said, you know, it's so close to have spring break coming on. The timing is what makes no sense to me. I just don't know why he did it. I'm sure he has somebody that has advised him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what was the rationale.
And the president now calling the governor's decision Neanderthal thinking. Many people, of course, pointing that out. Definition of Neanderthal is unenlightened, ignorant person, barbarian. Now, Seth, Michael Moore also speaking out, slamming Texas for this decision to reopen, saying that the state no longer needs, quote, our precious vaccine. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the minute we start taking cues from Michael Moore is the minute that Texas isn't Texas anymore. And so I don't know that we need to really concern ourselves much with Michael Moore's opinion on this. I think, again, what the governor is doing is saying Texas as a government entity is not going to impose its will on its citizens. It's going to allow its citizens freedom and liberty to make decisions that they see fit, free enterprise and institutions to do the same. This and the vaccine question, I think, are two totally separate issues.
Right. I think it is two separate discussions. And we've seen throughout the past year many people moving to Texas for that very reason, looking to make decisions for themselves, for their families, moving from states like California, who are under much different lockdowns. Gentlemen, thank you both for your insight this morning. Dr. Joseph Barone, thank you for your hard work. Again, you're 350th a day working hard there in Houston. Seth Denson, thank you as always.
Thanks.